and welcome to this week's Sing for Alexa Saturday. We have been having so many. It's insane to think it's now gotten to the point where I'm going to be going back to school next week. And hopefully I intend to still keep these things going, even though it'll get even crazier. But the fact we've done them this far is absolutely insane, and I'm so thankful to each and every one of you for being here and for supporting. So, this week, we are so incredibly fortunate to have Anna-Lee Wright here as our Broadway guest this week. She is absolutely phenomenal, incredible. I'm sure that a lot of you guys know her just from TikTok, where she posts a lot of amazing material and just advice for young performers in everything in the world of not just performing arts, but just in being a good, decent human being and in the struggles of, you know, how we continue to be creative and stay positive in times such as these, and also reminding us that it's okay to have moments where we're not feeling super positive, and that the way as artists that we deal with that is by putting it into our art. I mean, I don't want to speak too much for her. I could speak for hours. I'm just in love with everything she does. Complete Anna-Lee stan. So how this is going to work is I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, then I'll let Anna-Lee tell you a bit about herself, and then we're going to open up the floor, answer a couple questions, and we have three amazing performers who are going to perform for us, and we'll give them some feedback, followed by a musical theater Kahoot if you'd like to stay and do that, and the winner gets a free video chat with me. So lots of exciting stuff. So to start off, hi, I'm Alexa. I assume you already probably know a little bit about me if you're here watching this right now, but just in case, I am a musical theater TikToker and performer. I started singing at a very young age. I come from an extremely musical family, so I kind of grew up on the bandstand with them, where all family get-togethers where you brought all the instruments and everyone kind of just played together, and it was always really, really fun. I was always so in love with music and would just look at my family performing on the stage and just be so inspired and want to do that one day. I didn't start professional singing lessons until I was 13, and even though I wanted to sing pop and musical theater, my teacher started me off training classically, and I completely fell in love with it, and then that became my big thing, that I just was so in love with the world of opera. And then also in middle school, I did musical theater for the first time. I was in my middle school's musical, and I was like blown away by the fact that you could combine singing and acting and create this whole other thing that I was like so impressed and I loved so much. So I auditioned for high school, went to a high school of the performing arts where I got to major in acting, minor in dance and voice. And while I was there, I also did a lot of pre-college programs. I did Westminster's solo vocal artist summer program where I trained classically. I've done Juilliard's pre-college Saturday school where I went into the city and studied with their teachers every Saturday for a year. I did Paper Mill Playhouse's musical theater conservatory and Rutgers Mason Gross's musical theater academy that they had there. So in high school, I almost felt like I was living a very conservatory style life and just training nonstop, which I loved. But then come college, I really wanted to focus more on the aspect of writing and everything that went on in performing that wasn't just on the stage singing, and you know, all the ins and outs of what it actually takes to not just be like a performer, but really know the show business and just really be more interested in the business side and how all that went. And so I wanted to begin to be able to write my own material and understand how to even get that produced or up on its feet. So now I'm at Ithaca College, where I'm a BMO major, Bachelor of Music with an outside field of theater, and voice is my instrument, so I study voice and all things music and creating, as well as theater classes where I get to understand all the ins and outs of that. So that was my life story. So I'm now going to hand it over to Anna-Lee to tell you some about herself.
That is crazy, girl. You're like killing it, and like that's just it's amazing. Like this generation that's coming up is phenomenal to me. But my name is Anna-Lee Wright. I grew up in South Carolina. I'm a Korean American. I was adopted. So short story, long story made short, I always felt like a really big misfit because there wasn't a lot of theater for me growing up. I got bullied a lot in high school, and so theater immediately became like my outlet. You know what I mean? It became like everything about being able to express myself as a human and just like find a little bit of hope in the world. So I went to New York. And then I had some good luck in, in my career. I did Broadway. I went overseas and did an international tour too. I did a show on MTV where I was one of the leads for that, which was a crazy experience. I've taught at national conventions. And then on the flip side of that, you know, like I was a dance captain for the Miss Saigon Broadway tour, and I did that on Broadway as well. But I've always loved teaching. I always loved doing dance conventions. I always loved teaching. Acting is probably the thing that, if you ever watch my content, is I'm always an actor first, because for me, the way I approach art is that, you know, there's the art of living. And if you're an artist, it's very hard, especially now, to separate. You know, people have their careers and they have their identity, but for artists, it's very hard to separate those things, you know, and that can be a lot of mental pressure too. But I think everything is art. I think art is therapy, and therapy is art, and life is art, and yada, yada, yada. So especially right now, it's a tough world to navigate. But I'm so proud of everyone here, and for you guys, and everything that Alexa's doing, and just anyone that's brave enough right now to keep getting up and trying to find the fullest version of themselves, you know, because it's a lot right now. It's a lot right now, but it's important. And that's my thing in a nutshell. You know, we're all making it up as we go along too. And, you know, whether we are on Broadway or whether you're, you know, doing TV and film, I started getting much more into TV and film and doing music video production because I wanted to tell my own stories. I didn't feel like there was enough representation, not even just for people of color, but for women. And also for people that weren't conventionally like the Western idea of pretty, even if it wasn't things about like, you know, being Black or Asian or Hispanic or whatever it is. So, you know, I think it's also a really important time and a cool time to, like Alexa said, start thinking about, especially since Broadway's a little bit on hold, why you want to do this, and not being afraid to know that you have the power to make your own stories, you know, especially now as we're in this digital age. We're working on our crafts, and we're all just figuring out how to be heard and seen. And yeah, and that's what I'm all about. And that's what I'm seeing in you guys. So I love you guys.
You're so amazing. And again, we all thank you so much for being here. Okay, if you guys have any questions for me or Anna-Lee, you can just quite literally just give us a wave down. And Anna-Lee, do you know how to like go through? I can unmute people if you don't, because I think I might be a bit harder to see it like on your phone. Are you able to see everyone?
I'm on my iPad.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So if you want, you can go ahead and unmute anyone that you see. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to give us a wave, or you can also type them in the chat. I have the chat set where all the chats just go to me, so it's not like popping up and being distracting while other people are performing. But yeah. I see Michaela. Do you want me to? I'll unmute Michaela.
Cool.
Okay, here we go. Hi.
Hello. Okay, so I know you like said it last week on the app, but how can you like stop shallow breathing?
Oh, so like while you're singing, breathe more deeply, you mean? So I think that practice really makes perfect, and I think that the hardest thing is just going right to singing a song and practicing these techniques. What I do when I teach or when I've been taught is that we actually need to almost just retrain the whole way that our body thinks about taking a breath. And so doing a lot of breathing exercises on your own, just breathe in 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, so that your breath isn't controlling you. You're in complete control of your breath, kind of like how scuba divers or mermaids who train at parks, like you have to train yourself to really be able to intake and hold, you know, enough air in. I also think that you know, it's a lot harder to just do it standing up because gravity's not really on your side and you're going to be more apt to move your shoulders. So I always start in teaching, or again when I was taught, always to just lie down on your back and think about like either put books on your lower abdomen or something to really get those muscles going. I'm sure that you guys have heard like, don't move your shoulders, breathe from your abdomen. Well, that's because if you're breathing up and down, your lungs are quite literally, they're in your rib cage, and so there's only so much that they can actually inflate before they start hitting that bone. Whereas if you think about breathing more down, which is actually the more primal way of breathing, and that you know, babies breathe that way. If you look at your pets around your house, no one really breathes with their shoulders. It's kind of just us because we've evolved to be standing up. You get so much more air because there's no limit to how much air your lungs can get. So thinking about breathing a lot more, you know, deeper. And there are a lot of exercises that I'm sure you can also look up just to help you be able to do that. But I think the first step is being able to just breathe. You should be practicing breathing without the song, then breathing, kind of putting in bits of the song, and then the last thing would be putting all of it together, because singing is crazy, crazy multitasking, and it's hard to be thinking about everything at the same time. All that said, Anna-Lee, what do you think?
Oh, I think all that's spot on. And I would say for me personally, shallow breathing specifically becomes an issue for me, especially when nerves come in. So let's say like I go to an audition, that's when all of a sudden my vibrato might all of a sudden kick into like, you know, and I'm like, what's happening? Or, you know, I'm not taking those deep grounded breaths. So the one thing that I always do before I do a song or an audition is it sounds counterintuitive, but I do something to physically exhaust myself, because a lot of times for me, shallow breathing comes from excessive energy and being nervous and not being grounded. So for me, whether it be taking a little run before an audition or just doing some planks or some push-ups, which I know is like the worst thing to like make yourself do before you go into an audition. But for me, that was really like the key thing that helped me realize, oh, I've gotten all that nervous energy out. Therefore, like I'm going to have room to relax into my diaphragm, and I'm going to not have all that extra energy. And then therefore it kind of just allows the breathing to become deeper and more natural. And that's just me though.
Yeah, no, awesome. Yeah, it's really helpful to me too to just hear everyone's different perspectives or not even perspectives, just like everything helps. Everything helps. It's so awesome that we get to do these and have such amazing people on here. Is there anyone else who has a quick question to ask? Oh wait, I think I'm getting some in the chats too. What would you say to someone willing to study art that doesn't have their parents' support? What do you think, Anna-Lee?
I think that that's number one, a much more common situation. So don't feel alone. You know, I get that question all the time. But I would also say that just remind yourself that you don't need their support. It will help if you have parents' money, right? It will help if you have guidance, and it'll help emotionally. But if you know that you want to do something and you know that it's something that you're either good at or that you have value in doing, just remember that it may suck that you don't have their support, but you don't need it, right? All you need is you, and all you need is your self-belief in yourself. Self-belief in yourself. And then once you start doing more and actually putting yourself out there, you will meet other people, you know, also that may not have had the support, but you'll find more community. So it sucks. There's no way to get around that. But by no, it's kind of like going to a great theater school. It will help, obviously, but it is by no means a make or break at all. It doesn't matter at all if you have the support, if you went to a great theater school. So just don't forget that, because I think that's an easy trick to get, you know, it's an easy false narrative to believe, you know, and my heart goes out to you, but you don't need it. You're more powerful than you think you are. You know what I mean?
Wow. And then one other quick question. What do you suggest to get over stage fright?
What do you do?
I mean, to be completely honest, I don't really have stage fright too often. I just get very, like, anxious. Like, the worst part is just waiting to get on stage, and then once I'm on stage, I'm fine. But I think that stage fright, at least for me, the only time I've really experienced just complete stage fright is when I'm not prepared. Because I'm someone who prepares so much that even if I forget a line, I can trust myself to know the next one, to make some sort of bridging connection or something, to kind of, like, have my own back, like, just know the material inside and out. So I think that that's the biggest thing. Make sure that you know the show so much that it's almost just like, oh my gosh, what's it called when it's just, when you're playing piano and you almost don't have to read the sheet music anymore because it's just like your hands remember where to go. Muscle memory. To the point where it becomes muscle memory. Even if you have like a brain fart, you just keep going. That's probably what I'd say.
Yeah, I think for me, I try to do a mental trick where I change the narrative in my head from I'm nervous, and I try to flip it into I'm excited, because that's believable to me. You know, if I'm getting ready to go into an audition room or go on stage, I can't really say like I'm not nervous, right? But I can kind of maybe flip it into the narrative of like, yeah, I'm excited. And then at least that energy is getting channeled and it's getting, you know, kind of like morphed into a more productive way of thinking about it. And again, same thing with stage fright too. I always try to do something to just physically exhaust myself a little bit, because you're always going to have extra energy when it comes to stage fright, like say for an audition or performance. You're always going to have extra energy. Even if you were tired the night before, the minute you're about to go on stage until you get there, or the minute before you walk into the audition room, you're always going to have extra energy nerves. Like that energy gets pulled out of like, you know, nowhere. So again, just doing something to get out of your body, get out of those jitters, you know, for me, really, 100%, that was a game changer. You know, I always thought that to go in and do an audition well, I had to be rested. I had to be on vocal rest. Don't talk to me. I had to go to bed at 9 o'clock. I couldn't have milk, like all those weird things. And then once I kind of did the opposite of that and just realized that like, it's going to be one audition after the another. You know what I mean? It's never going to be the most important audition of your life. And the more you can take it more casually, the less you idolize those individual experiences. And then the more you humanize it. And then it just seems like a day-to-day thing. And then that helps with the nervousness too, you know?
Wow. Yeah. There's just going to be a lot of me being completely speechless during this because, again, I like completely idolize Anna-Lee. Okay. So with all of that, we're going to get started with our first singer. We have Rebecca here. I'm going to unmute you. Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. So feel free to tell us a little bit about yourself if you'd like. And then if you could also just give us a little synopsis of the show that the song you're from is, a little synopsis of the show and kind of where the song that you're singing falls into that plot.
Yes. Okay, so hi, I'm Rebecca Steiner. I'm 19 years old. I'm originally from Arizona, but I am now a junior musical theater major at the University of Northern Colorado. I have been doing theater since I was literally 4 years old. I have actually not done anything ever other than theater, so that's fun. Yeah, so I'll be singing Even Though from I Love You Because. And this show it's a smaller show. It's got a smaller cast of characters. And the character Marcy basically just goes in and out of this relationship with this guy. It's just back and forth of I love you, I don't love you, I love you, I don't, the whole show. And this is towards the end, and she's finally coming to a realization of what she actually feels. So, yeah.
Awesome. And you could, actually, do you want to, like, test the sound first? Do you want to play?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, perfect. Awesome.
Great.
All right,
Cool.
ready?
Great. When you first told me that you loved me, I was more than just a little bit surprised. But then you left, and I realized there was something about you, something so that I couldn't live without you. And even though you're just a little bit pretentious, even though you're more traditional than my dad, even though you drove me crazy from hello, you touch a part of me I didn't even know. And so I need to say I want you anyway. I want you anyway. Even though this might not be the perfect way to tell you, but perfection never was what I did best. 2 months ago, I never would have guessed that I'd compare to you-know-who. But now I know I belong with you. And even though I think your way of life is freakish, even though there's not a single thing we share, even though you're not like anyone I know, you take me to a place I didn't even know was there. And so I need to say I choose you anyway. I choose you anyway. Even though the night when I first met you, you were freakish. Now look at us, we both have come so far. You're not different, I'm not different, but it's altogether different. 'Cause I love you in spite of who you are. And even though you're so much paler than my dream man, even though you're such a dork and I don't feel the way I should, even though I should stop, well, here I go. I love you in a way I didn't even know I could. And so I need to say I love you anyway. I love you anyway. Even Thank you.
Wow, yeah, huge silent claps for that. Oh my gosh, I love that song for you. I love how effortless your voice sounds when you sing, how it just
Thank you.
so beautifully and just, oh my gosh, it just sounds so natural and nothing sounds pushed. I mean, even when you're like up there, it just sounds like yes, that's just where your voice wants to be. I think it's so
Thanks.
wonderful. The quality is really nice. I think that the one piece of advice that I want to give you, which is actually something that I never really thought about until I was actually given this note, with songs that are a bit more talkative. I was doing Steps of the Palace once, and in the more talkative parts of the song, but then what if it's something da, 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 da. A lot of the song in a very kind of almost like talkative manner, I guess, as this song is too, especially in the beginning. There are a lot of lines that come out a bit more talkative than like singing.
Definitely.
Really kind of on the voice. I think that if you can really go back and make sure that there's a clear distinction between when you're choosing to make a certain line talkative and when you're choosing to put another line on the voice, because I know that when I was doing working with some other songs, some of the professors that I was working with were saying that the line's great to say some talkative, but to do it talkative for like more than half of the song, they said, like, I would love to see what would happen if for this line you chose to really put that on the voice and carry it through, as opposed to kind of fall into the default of just talking it out again. Because I think that whole kind of first beginning, I loved the way that you were doing it, but I did wonder if maybe there could be a couple places where you decide to put it a bit more, just make it a bit less talkative, a bit more like sing-songy, so that
Yes.
you get like really almost like early on, like, oh, like obviously we know you have a beautiful voice, but making it just for someone who's maybe not hearing this song for very long, making sure that it's not just talkative the whole time or singing the whole time. And then the other thing that I wanted to say was, since the song is so talkative, we have the tendency to kind of keep our mouths very, very wide while we sing. And I think that there were a couple places where it could really benefit you to actually just open up and kind of commit more to like actual, or not actual singing technique, but like commit a bit more to, like I was saying, make it a bit more sing-songy.
Yes.
Like say, needless to say, I'd choose you anyway. So that needless to say are a bit higher. Those notes when you sang them, and I don't know the song very well, but they were a bit in like a higher register. Needless, something to say. But both need and say, I mean, those are both kind of like closed-ish vowels, and I would have loved to see you like open them up, like if we were to do this again, needless to say, just like really almost just relaxing this a little bit so it's not like completely chomped down, especially when you go higher notes. And I really heard this at the end too, the I love you anyway, whatever that is. I think if you keep it more open on the then it's more of like an as opposed to closing to the E. I love you. So just in certain sections, because you have such a beautiful voice, not compromising the like integrity of the vowels just for like talkative places, because I know I'm saying that a lot just because I'm not sure if it's totally registering or if I'm making sense. But I hope
No, it definitely makes sense.
Okay, yeah, good, okay. Because as I'm saying it, I'm like, oh, okay. I just want to make sure this makes sense. Okay, but it was really lovely, and again, I'm just being picky because you have such a beautiful voice. I would love to just hear like a bit more of it in a bit fuller of a way, which you got to in those big places where you knew you had to kind of like park and bark. But taking that same energy that you knew you had to have in that space that you knew you had to provide when you were, needed these big notes, applying that to some other places in the song. Okay. Anna-Lee?
Definitely.
I don't have much because I thought that was like bomb, like truly. I mean, I'm always about, as when I cast and when I look at artists acting first, even if someone comes in, which you didn't, and they crack in my face, I'll forgive that all day long if for the majority of the song they told a story. You know what I mean? Because like we all crack and we all do things like that. So I think you're a supernatural storyteller. Like I saw, Kathy in the last 5 years all day long. I would love to see you do that type of material. And I love, like Alexa said, the nice, easy, recitative, quality that you have with telling the story. I think that the best way I could apply to what Alexa's talking about for you is, I think it would be, try to maybe find some of the phrases, right? Because it's so recitative, it's very easy to be like, and I'm going to take it down, but like, I need to know, and then which is beautiful, and that's a choice. But I think the way that I would approach trying to implement what Alexa's talking about is maybe trying to find places where you have more of a breath, so then you don't have two separate sentences. So I'm going to murder the song here, but instead of being like, boom, I need to know, I love you, but like, I need to know, I love you. And then like letting it grow like that. I think
yes, definitely
will help, and then my other thing was, because you're good and I can nitpick with you, I would love to see certain moments, because there are pauses in this song. I would love to see you start intentionally thinking about having the thoughts and the memories before you start to sing about them, right? So there are times when you're singing and it can be like, I'm just going to do this thing that's really weird, where I'm just going to do gibberish because I don't know the song, but I can still kind of communicate what I mean. So like, you're singing this song and sometimes you have this memory and then you have this other thought, but instead being like, I need to know, I love you, and then thinking about that and seeing it register it first, because that's what we do as humans, and it's very easy to get lost into the like, now it's a new line and I have a new thought. But just because you're good enough to understand what I'm saying, and I know you know what I mean, every now and then, especially there was a line about your dad, I think, in the memories, we can start to see you register that before you actually start singing about it, right? Like always being ahead of the emotion a little bit. But that's all I have, because I thought that was amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think Anna-Lee helped to further communicate what I was trying to say, going on a whole rant just to try to say this one thing that I wasn't sure I was communicating. Okay, so Rebecca, fantastic job. Please let us know, where can we hear your beautiful voice again?
My TikTok is my name with a period between the R and the E. R.Abecca Steiner.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your talent with us.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Leandro, who's right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and unmute him. You might just have to unmute yourself too. There you go. Also, for anyone who doesn't know, maybe if this is their first time on Zoom, in the top right corner, if you're on a computer, you can hit between speaker view and gallery view so that you can see just the person talking and then see like a big collage of everyone in the Zoom. So when someone's singing, if you just want to see them, you can just hit speaker view so you're not like looking for them in the little box. Okay, Leandro, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I kind of just woke up. It's like, it's 11 over here.
Oh, dang.
Not just woke up, but like a couple hours ago. Hi. I'm Leandro. I'm 16. I'm a junior in high school. I live in San Jose, California. I was originally born in Argentina, and I immigrated to Texas when I was 8. And then like 4 years ago, I moved to California, and it's been great. And when I moved to California is when I started doing theater. My first show was Schoolhouse Rock Live, and it was so fun. I was an overachiever, and I'm still one to this day.
Yeah.
The song that I will be, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just cheering. You could continue.
Okay. The song that we will be singing is called Purpose. It's from a show called Avenue Q. And a little backstory on Avenue Q. This is the only song that's appropriate for me to sing from this show. It is a very R-rated show, to say the least. But I really like this song because it's just been one of my favorites for a while. And yeah.
Awesome. Whenever you're ready. Unless do you want to test the sound first?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Purpose, it's that little flame that lights a fire under your ass. Purpose, it keeps you going strong like a car with a full tank of gas. Everyone else has a purpose, so what's mine? Hey, look, a penny! It's from the year I was born. It's a sign. Ha! I don't know how I know, but I'm gonna find my purpose. I don't know where I'm gonna look, but I'm gonna find my purpose. Gotta find out, don't wanna wait. Got to make sure that my life will be great. Gotta find my purpose before it's too late. Whoa, I'm gonna find my purpose. Yeah, I've gotta find my purpose. Could be far, could be near. Could take a week, a month, a year. At a job, or smoking grass. Maybe at a pottery class. Could it be? Yes, it could. Something's coming, something good. I'm gonna find my purpose, yeah. Whoa, I'm gonna find it, yeah. What will it be? Where will it be? My purpose in life is a mystery. Gotta find my purpose. I gotta find me. Whoa, I've gotta find my purpose. Purpose, yeah. I gotta find me.
Yay! Oh my gosh, Leandro, I love your energy. It's so just infectious. It's so good. In this, I love your charisma and the characterization that you're able to bring to the piece. I think that as far as energy goes, though, for some reason I felt like there was a lot of energy coming out of you more in like a downward sort of motion. It didn't happen all the time, but I felt like your energy, you were good and you were good at being grounded, but it was a bit like, I would have loved to see, I think, your energy be a bit more like up and open to this possibility of finding your purpose, as opposed to having this more like, I don't know, bent knees, like shoulders, like a bit curved energy of like, where is it? Or, because I loved your searching for it, but I felt like a lot of times it was searching more like a bit downward as opposed to up. And the only reason that I'm really talking or like mentioning this is just because I think that there are a lot of big like money notes that you have to hit here, and I saw you kind of like taking a stance for those particular notes. But I think that if you would have just had that and kept that going for a bit more of the song, as opposed to just when you kind of needed it to really kind of stand still and make sure that you were really grounded to get those notes out, I think that it really would have helped you, I think, in finding just a bit more stillness in the piece, just because it's so I love how, I don't want to say like chaotic, because I feel like that's not the right word, but I think just in more like channeling that energy into the line that you're doing, as opposed to just having it be so all around all the time. And I think that it'll also help the breath, and therefore just like the I don't know, I think it'll help you get some of the like the tone out a bit easier also, just as like a vocal thing. But I really enjoyed and loved your interpretation of this, and I just can't wait to see what you'll do, because I know you'll go on to do really cool stuff. Anna-Lee.
That was awesome. I love the energy. And again, I'm going to just piggyback on everything Alexa said and just say it in my way, and you know, see if we can find that next level of basically we're saying the same thing. Again, I loved the energy, star quality, so good, so genuine. You know, it wasn't forced energy. It was just hammy enough to still be organic. And if I were behind the casting table, I would be like, yes, like that is like the vibe, you know? So I do agree with what she said about, you know, kind of focusing down and things like that. So for me, the notes that I took were, I think that you have room in the beginning of the song before you pop off for that to be a particularly still moment. You know what I mean? Like in the very beginning, because we're already kind of jumping into physicality. And as far as the arc of your physicality and the character, it doesn't leave you with a lot of room to go anywhere, right? So you don't want to come in gangbusters, right? You want to come in a little bit, and there's room for that, you know, that the accompaniment a little bit more minimalistic. So, and it's a hard thing to do, but trust that you're charming enough, you know, and you're going to bring it to just have the patience before the song kind of pops off to be a little bit more contemplative, you know, and to find that stillness. So then all the great physicality you're doing can register. And then as far as the looking down thing, I think that if you were to watch a video of that performance, what you would notice is that, yes, you are looking down a lot. And what I wrote was that there's not enough moments, because like you are also such a handsome human being, there's not a lot of moments where not only you looked down a lot, but you tended to not ever give us that moment where you came and looked straight, like up and out over the audience, right? Which is such a strong way to stand. You know, it was very much like, you know, down, over here, over there, and it was very natural. The casualness of it was great. It was organic and authentic. But I think what would help is just to remember the power of just the straight on, you know, and also maybe the next time you do the song, it might help to actually choreograph certain sections, not overdo it, but have certain moments where like, okay, I'm going to be like over here at like, you know, 3 o'clock, or I'm not pointing at 3 o'clock right now at all, but you know what I mean? At like this angle here, I'm going to actually spend like this 8 bars here. And then I'm going to have a moment where I'm straight on and like thinking about this, like, okay, huh? And then you can go look down and you can have your thoughts, and then you can come back here. If you just map it out a little bit more, I think that you can do what you're already doing, and it can just be a little bit more intentional. Because I don't think we need to change anything you're doing. I think we just need to make it a little bit more, I don't want to say choreographed, but just a little bit more specific. So that way we make sure that we don't leave out those moments, and we can just see you in your power, like actually having realizations, finding purpose. You know what I mean? It'll just make it a lot stronger. So that's my only thing, you know, just being a little bit more intentional about where we put our focus, and maybe not coming, you know, full like gangbusters out the door from the beginning. And that'll be a great moment for you, because you really have to do so little in the beginning of that song, because you're about to do so much, you know? So like draw us in with the mystery of like, what's about to happen with this cute little guy? He's having thoughts, he's doing some things, you know? But other than that, I mean, these are all nitpicky things. I thought it was really, really, really good.
Yeah, awesome. So Leandro, let us know, do you have any accounts you want to shout out? Where can we hear your amazing voice again?
I have a TikTok, but I mainly like do sketch comedy that I like to write. But I also have an Instagram. It's my name with an underscore in between it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here and sharing your talent with us today. Okay. And last but not least, we have Kaden here, who I'm going to unmute. Hi. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. So, same as everyone else, if you'd love to let us know a little bit about yourself, and then whenever you're ready, you can also tell us a little bit about the song, and then you can begin.
Hello, my name is Kaden. I'm 16. I'm a junior in high school. I don't know what else to say. So my song is Come to Your Senses from Tik Tik Boom. And a little rundown of the context of the song is that Clarissa, who is friends with John, is performing in a show he wrote. And I don't want to go into anything else because it would go on a long tangent. So can I do a sound check real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Oh, that's very quiet. Is that good? Okay. You're on the air. I'm underground. Signals fading. Can't be found. I finally open up. For you, I would do anything. But you've turned off the volume just when I've begun to sing. Come to your senses, defenses are not the way to go, and you know, or at least you knew, everything's strange, you've changed, and I don't know what to do to get through, I don't know what to do. I have to laugh. You sure put on a show. Love is passé in this day and age. How can we expect it to grow? You as the night, me as the queen. But all I've got tonight is static on a screen. Come to your senses, the fences inside are not for real if we feel as we did, and I do. Can't you recall when this all began? It was only you and me. It was only me and you. But now the air is filled with confusion. We've replaced care with illusion. It's cool to be cold. Nothing lasts anymore. Love becomes disposable. This is the shape of things we cannot ignore. Come to your senses, suspense is fine if you're just an empty image emanating out of a screen. Baby, be real, you can feel again. You don't need a music box melody to know what I mean. Deep in my eyes, what do you see? Deep in my sighs, listen to me. Let the music commence from inside. Not only 1 sense, but use all 5. Come to your senses. Come to your senses. Come to your senses. Baby, come back alive. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Oh my gosh. Can you, just for anyone who might not know, can you give a little bit of a synopsis as to the show and then where this song fits in?
Yes, so Clarissa is working in a guy named John's play or musical that he's producing.
Oh, wait. Wait, was I not listening? Did you already do this?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I knew it. I knew it. I think I had myself like muted, was talking to my mom. As you were saying it, I was like, wait, deja vu. I feel like I already asked for this. Thank you. Okay. Wait, right. In the musical, and she's asking to, wait.
She's performing in the show. Basically, okay. In the beginning, no one's in the audience, and then eventually during the song, people stream in, like people important to her and producers. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Beautiful. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, okay. So, you have an amazing voice. You have a lot of power in your voice. I'm wondering, are you standing up right now?
No.
Okay. So that would be the first thing that I would say and to recommend to you, especially for a song like this, to be standing up, just to keep yourself a bit more grounded. And then I think it'll really help with everything. It'll help make the breathing a bit deeper and just, I think, help you as an actress feel just a lot more grounded as opposed to kind of just sitting down. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about is musicality in the voice. So whenever we sing, we never really want to start a phrase totally at a 10 because it never really gives us anywhere to go. if I just say a sentence like this and then I continue it, it's just like, okay, but if I add musicality in the voice, then I give it somewhere to go. And I think that a lot of the sentences, I would love for you in practicing this to maybe even just say it as a monologue and see just kind of where like certain emphasis places and where the sentences that you say within the song, where they kind of go to and the natural flow of them. Because I think that this song, it builds a lot, and I think that we might have lost a little bit of that just because I think that you can allow yourself to let the phrases kind of build and then almost like an ocean, like kind of build and then subside a little bit, especially because, you know, in telling someone to come to your senses, there's this sort of acting quality to it as well. You know, the first time that I say to you, don't touch the pencil, and then you go and you try to touch it, it's like, no, don't touch the pencil. And each time you go to do it, when I'm telling you clearly, don't do this, I'm gonna get more aggravated. The way I'm saying it, the stakes are, especially for you, are more and more heightened as this person isn't listening to you further and further. So I'd love to see that kind of an arc, as because I saw at the beginning you kind of being like a, you know, like a friendly, confidant, come to your senses, and then the song itself grows, but I felt like where you kind of were emotionally, and in just talking about like the music and the way that the tone came out in general, it was kind of like, even though the volume sometimes got a bit softer and a bit louder in that kind of area, I would have just loved to see the way in which you delivered the lines, certain sincerity and ways that you could play around with it also kind of grow and subside throughout the song as the, you know, stakes play out through it. And I think that finding the more of the musicality within it will just give you as an actress a bit, I think it'll help you find and follow along with the story a bit better as well, because I know it's easy to kind of sing and say lines, but as far as like really kind of understanding what they're trying to say, and then the way in which I mean, there could be one sentence, like one phrase of singing, and you could have like 50 people sing it each a different way. And I think that finding where you can vary it sometimes might be a bit helpful for you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to hand it off to Anna-Lee, but great job. Really great job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Such a powerhouse here. My notes are all about specificity, right? Specificity in choices, because and it's hard because it's not fair to you, because this is like one of my favorite songs of all time. So this was like one of my go-to like audition songs. So let's talk like specifics, right? Like you know the line where like everything's you've changed. Everything's strange, you've changed, right?
Yes.
I would love to see like everything's strange, and then actually see like you like look at him and be like you freaking change, like you're not, you know what I mean? And you almost went there, but it was still kind of in that world of like still kind of sing-songy, like everything's strange, you've changed, instead of like actually seeing your eye. Like eyesight is a big specific thing, you know what I mean? Especially when we're doing like video stuff like this. But I would love to see that moment of like seeing you, like you've changed, like who are you? You know, that was one of my notes. And then like the concept of like, you know, the line, like, can't you recall, you know, like when it starts building up and it's like, it was only you and me and all that stuff, you can hear it. It's like, gun, 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 boom. And all that. At that point in the song, like you're starting, it's the equivalent of like begging and yelling, right? Because like the whole reason we start singing in musical theater is because the emotions are so big that mere dialogue doesn't, you know, suffice anymore, right? So I would love to see you just trust your voice and be braver more in those acting moments, to let go even more, because like I know you have it in you because your presence and you're a powerhouse and you chose the song for a reason. Don't be afraid. This is the type of song where you can't be afraid to occasionally like get a little even uglier, you know what I mean? Like I mean, you haven't had like the moments I've had because like I'm old and I've been married and all that stuff. But like when you have these type of arguments, like especially as a woman, and you're trying to get through to someone, like you become a basket case. Like you really do. You start out, you try to be nice, and then you lose your mind, and then you're begging them, and then so there's a reason. Right when it goes from what is the it's like it's the moment in the song where everything goes from really being powerful. I think it's like right before
my eyes.
Yeah. Yes. So I would love to see more of a tonal buildup, and you're singing, because there's a reason he composed it like that, right? Like this is Jonathan Larson, right?
Yes.
There's a reason why it builds up to that, and then all of a sudden everything drops out, and then it's just deep in my eyes, because at that point you've said everything you've said. It's that moment in the conversation where you're like, if you don't get it now, you're never gonna get it. And I have nothing left. Like, I can't argue with anymore, babe. Like, I can't do it. So I would love to see you just embody that more and be braver on that arc, so that there is much more of an impact when all the music drops out and you can go back to that moment of just like, deep in my eyes, like, what do you see? And then it starts again, listen to me. And you go into that, like, and then it starts again and you go into come to your senses, you know, but thinking about more as things, there's moments when it can be more of not a yell, but a cry, and more of like a wail, you know, and more of like a carnal sound you're making, you know. Don't be afraid, and experiment with that on your own, you know, like in your room. Like, it doesn't have to be like in front of everyone. But for me, that song really pops off when I see someone really step into those moments of like, oh, like, damn, like, this is an angry, hurt woman. And I know that you could go even further with that, but that's going to come through finding the moments of the song, figuring out where does it drop out, where does it get powerful, like Alexa said, where does the arc come, and then relaxing off of things so that when you are powerful, you can showcase that even more. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. But like, great job. Like, you got it here. Your voice is like super strong, and like, oh, I would love to see you do this song like in person and work with you. You know, it's hard on Zooms and everything like that. And then my last thing was just in that last final note, don't be afraid to lock that eye focus with who you're singing to. You know, I think there might've been some other stuff going on where like, it was like, you know, we're acknowledging things happening. Of course, like, I totally get that. But just remember that, like, if it were an audition, you know, you've done so much good work up until that moment. You can change so many mistakes and make me forget about things that you might have thought like could have gone better with that final powerful moment. And in reverse, you can do like a lot of really, you know, great things. And at the end, if you don't, you know, do something and you like acknowledge a mistake, then it's like, oh no, don't do that. So just finish strong, because you'd be amazed at the power of like just your impression and just seeing like your vibe, you know. Keep that eye focus there. You know what I mean? Because even in arguments, actor first, even in arguments, we have those moments where we forget what we're talking about, or it's like, I don't even remember what I was saying because you're making me crazy. Or like, you know, treat it like the acting that it is. And I think that'll really help translate the song. But like, on point, super awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Anna-Lee, if you want, because we have a little bit of extra time, there's a certain part in the song that you'd maybe want to go back and workshop a little bit with some of those acting choices that you were talking about.
Sure. I would love to see could we do the crescendo line up in right before it drops off into deep in my eyes, that moment. What is the lyric right before that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, wait, I think I have to unmute her or him. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, wait, can you repeat that?
What is the lyric, or like the 16 bars right before it drops off into deep in my eyes? What do you see? Deep in my...
It's the, but now the air is filled with confusion.
Let's go from there.
Yeah.
It's cool to be kind, nothing lasting. Okay, let's just go from there. That's fine.
Okay, which is, but now the, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you find it in the, but now the air is filled with confusion?
Yes.
Okay. You can even do it a cappella if you want, if that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, find it in the music.
But now the air is filled with confusion. We've replaced care with illusion. It's cool
I would love for you there. I would love for you there to release more on like, it's cool to be cold, you know, because you're coming off of that release, it seems a little, and not authentic in a bad way. You know, I'm being like love and real with you. It seems emotionally like it would be more likely for you to release there instead of like, it's cool to be cold, right? We want to see you like breathe. Can we do that one more time?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. But now the air is filled with confusion. We've replaced care with illusion. It's cool to be cold. Nothing lasts anymore. Love becomes disposable. This is the shape of things we cannot ignore. Come to your senses. Suspense is fine if you're just an empty image emanating out of the screen. Baby, be real, you can't feel again. You don't need a music box melody to know what I mean. Deep in my eyes.
Much better, truly, truly. And we could go on and on with this, but yes, just, it seems subtle and like, I don't know, could you feel it? Could you feel it? Yeah, just feeling the moments when you're like, I am woman, hear me roar. And I am also like helpless, like love me, you know, like feeling the differences in those. But that already to me had so many more dynamics in it, you know, and it let me see you as the character so much more. Like took notes really well there. Like, I feel like you're understanding, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Amazing job, Kaden. Please let us know, where can we hear your wonderful voice again?
So I don't sing much on my TikTok, which is at saltiest_BOI, but I do have an Instagram at KMPOTAK. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay, and now, of course, a huge, I guess, silent round of applause for Anna-Lee for being here today. Anna-Lee informed me that she's in the process of moving back to New York. If not, she's at New York already. So this has been a crazy, wild ride for her already. And so I really appreciate her taking the hour to just be on here and be with us. So Anna-Lee's also just, if you guys haven't already learned from this Zoom, an amazing, amazing teacher and human being. So I'm gonna let her talk a little bit about where you can find her if you wanna schedule any lessons or anything like that.
So it's Anna-Lee Wright on everything. It's Anna-Lee Wright on TikTok. It's Anna-Lee Wright on Instagram. It's Anna-Lee Wright on the YouTube. I'm trying to, you know, get off the ground. But if you email me, which you can find on my website and all that stuff, I do occasional group classes and Zoom classes and things like that. But it's always going to be a different type of class. So if you want to be alerted to classes that I do, you know, you can email me and join a group where I'm just like, okay, we're going to be working on video submissions and I'll give you sides and like, how do you approach these things? Or one week we might be working on audition monologues under 30 seconds and things like that. So I always just say, if you want to email me, I can add you to the list and then I'll just send you out a blast and you can either say, oh, I'm interested in this class this week. I'm not interested in this class. And I also do, which seems to be something that a lot of people are asking for lately, just one-on-one. I call them general Zooms. That's what we call it in the business, where we can just sit down for half an hour or how long, and we can just talk about your situation, what questions you have, any guidance you might think, whether it be about theater schools, whether it be about a certain audition you have, or whether it just be about where you're going in theater advice. You know, it's a very specific, just kind of one-on-one, like, where do you think we should go and what decisions do you think we should make? And that's super casual too. And again, we just call them general Zoom one-on-one. So I do that too. But again, you guys are all awesome. And like, I'm proud of anyone and all of you guys for just continuing to show up and make art, and it's not a small thing, you know what I mean? It's not a small, there's a lot of artists out there deciding not to make art anymore and go into, you know, dentistry and stuff. So keep the dream alive, and if you know, remember, if you want to do art, the things you're passionate about, they're not accidental. You want to do art because you're supposed to, because that's where you're going to serve the best, and that's where you're going to be the best version of yourself, and that's how you're going to make the world better. So follow what you love and don't let people talk you into doing something that you know you're not going to be happy doing, okay? The world's crazy right now. We're all making it up, but you're a part of it. So it's not the time to give up. And I say this to myself too, okay?
Thank you so much. Really quickly, before anyone leaves, in case you can't stay for the Kahoot, we're going to take some pictures, as I'm being reminded a lot to do from people who really want these pictures. So first, I'm just going to get a quick picture with Anna-Lee. Okay. Also going to turn, okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now everyone fix your hair, fix your makeup, your clothing, get all pertified. And I'm gonna, if you guys want these pictures, you can DM me if you want them, or they're also just gonna be right up on my Instagram story. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now the next page. 1, 2, 3. Yay! Alrighty, and that officially concludes the masterclass section of this masterclass. Thank you to everyone who participated, to our amazing singers, to Anna-Lee. And now it is officially time for our musical theater Kahoot. My mom helped me put together this one, so I didn't even know the answers to some of these before I looked them up and put them on here. So we have some a lot different content from what we usually have. This one's a bit, I don't want to say like more difficult, but it's challenging, courtesy of Mama Chalnick. So if you guys don't know, these Zoom masterclasses are super amazing and fun to do, but they actually do cost quite a bit of money. They cost $75 per month, $15 just for the membership, where I can have chats that are longer than 40 minutes, and then an additional $60 so that I could have more than 100 people on the chat, which we've definitely had in the past, so it's come in handy. But so many amazing people help to donate to keep them going, even if it's just like $1 or $2. Anything really helps. If you go to my link tree, there are buttons there that literally says like, click here for Alexa's Venmo to help contribute to Sing for Alexa Saturday, or for Alexa's PayPal to contribute to Sing for Alexa Saturday. If you donate more than $20, you and me get a video chat, as just so that I could thank you in person and tell you how much it means to me and everyone else. And there are a couple really amazing people who have donated $20 and just said, or even over that amount, and said that they just wanted to pass the video chat or chats along to some other people who maybe can't necessarily afford it otherwise. So some of those amazing people, I think I saw Emma's on here if she wants to give a wave, Brandon, Miranda, some of our past guests, actually, Mariah, Jake Levy. Yeah, so thank you to everyone. And so basically how we figure out who's getting this free video chat, my brain is like not working today, to figure out who's getting the free video chat, we do this fun musical theater Kahoot, and the winner wins it. So I'm going to set that up right now. Please make your username your TikTok username so that I could just write it down really easily. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, but first I just got to make it where I'm not giving anyone the answers. Okay, play now. I'm gonna host. Congrats to everyone who played. I hope that you all had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun making it, as well as did Mama Chalnick. Yeah, so I usually stay on here up until 3:30 and just answer any remaining questions. And I know Anna-Lee's stuck around, so if you guys have any questions for her as well, I'm sure she probably wouldn't mind answering one or two. So if you guys have any remaining questions for me or Anna-Lee, just give like a wave. You don't have to do the digital raised hands because I don't really know how to do that. Okay, I see Ella. Hi.
How do you like learn lines? Like, what's your technique to learn lines?
No, that's a great question. So I know that what I do is I actually take a recording device and I record myself saying my lines as well as everyone else in the scene's lines. And so as it plays, I try to say the line along with myself. And then I try to like say it faster. So like I'm like beating myself. And then I'll also do a second take where I record it and I just leave out my lines. So that's what I do. I don't know if Anna-Lee has any techniques that she uses.
I have two. There's an app called Line Learner. that saves my life, especially for last minute things. It does cost like $4. The free version, you can only record up to like 2 pages. And there are also other free apps. I did a TikTok video about it. This is just the app that I know, that I like to use. But it's a great app because you can record your lines, their lines. You can speed up. You can just hear their lines. You could hear the whole script. You can change the pitch of people's voices in case you need to tell, like, 4 different people apart. And then I just listen to that and test myself in the shower, like when I'm working out, because I don't like to sit down and just memorize lines. That's the hardest thing for me to do, right? Plus, half the time you don't really have them memorized if that's the only way you can recite them. You need to be able to know them and learn them doing other things. So that's what I do. The second thing I also think is helpful is to find keywords, like if like a monologue and it's an audition monologue, find keywords that kind of tell you a story or tip you off into the next line, right? So this is going to sound random, but let's say I have a line where it's like, and you didn't even fix the refrigerator, right? And then the next line is something random like, you didn't even fix the refrigerator. And let's see, I'm trying to think of a great example. Like, you didn't even fix the refrigerator and it's raining outside. This seems totally unrelated, right? And like, for some reason, you can't ever put those two together. I make a story in my head, right? I figure out the places in the monologue where I have like little brain farts, and I'm like, okay, how can I connect refrigerator to, like raining outside? Refrigerator, ice equals hail equals rain. You know what I mean? So for me, I find little spots in the monologue where I'm always like, for some reason, my brain's not connecting it, and I'll make like a little story, kind of like to give myself a clue. So it's almost like not memorizing. You're kind of reminding yourself of the next line as you go along. So those are the 2 things that help me.
I never would have thought of that before. That's actually, I'm going to try that. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Oh, no, yeah, of course.
Have any questions? You can give us a wave. Alrighty, I see Mia. Hi.
Hi. It's nice to meet you guys. My question is, I know like a lot of people on Broadway, they're like dancers, and I don't dance. I've never taken a dance lesson in my life. Like, so is it a factor?
So this is what I always say. Let me turn my volume up. Okay. It is 100% not at all necessary to be a great dancer to be on Broadway. It is also not 100% necessary to be a great singer. Broadway is comprised of every single type of amalgamation of skill that you can imagine. Great singers that don't do anything, great dancers that don't do anything, people like me that are just kind of okay at everything. So 100%, if you don't consider yourself a dancer, don't worry. That doesn't mean that come the day that you're up for a show, that you're not going to have to embarrass yourself, and you're not going to have to prove that you're not a dancer. You will have to prove that you're not a dancer, and it's going to be like that process of like, oh my God, it's but the way it works is they know you're a singer. You know what I mean? So you'll still have to go to the dance calls probably. And sometimes you won't. Every situation's different. But if you're not a dancer, there are so many Park and Bark singers that work on Broadway just as singers. You know what I mean? Truly, 100%. Again, doesn't mean that you're not going to have to prove that you can't dance. That's the thing. So it does help with self-confidence just to like learn some TikTok dances, learn some YouTube dances, because half the time what I tell you guys is if you're not a dancer and you're just a singer, the combinations that you have to do that you're like, to get on Broadway and you get all freaked out about, they're not even that physically complicated, right? It's not like they're asking you to fall into splits. They're just quick. You're just not familiar with picking things up. So it's a really good practice to just find a YouTube, piece of choreography a week, or just learn some TikTok dances, because it's really about just the muscle memory and picking up the choreo. It's not that you can't kick, you know what I mean? It's not that you can't do the quick little sugar steps and the box steps. It's just that you freak out because you're not used to doing that. So don't worry if you're not a dancer. It's 100% not necessary at all. I mean, everything helps, but it's not necessary at all. Believe me, there's plenty of people I've worked with on Broadway that are not dancers at all.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay, I see Charlotte. There you go. You might have to, go and unmute.
Hi. Do you have any idea what's the best possible way to extend your vocal range, like to higher notes?
Don't push, I guess. I would recommend seeking out some sort of voice teacher or professional voice teacher just to make sure that whatever you're doing by yourself is good. I usually recommend, because you can never really go wrong with sirens and glides, just woo! Doing these a little bit each every day will really, really help with your vocal range, and it's also really good for your voice, so it's a sure way that you won't hurt yourself. But I would always recommend, I mean, I might be biased just because I was trained classically, but I wouldn't try to like push your belt up like as high as it'll go. I'd try to develop more of like your head range so you can kind of pull down from that and create a really nice healthy mix. But it shouldn't hurt, and if you're getting hoarse after trying to, you know, hit these notes, then you're probably just not doing them the correct way. So glides can help, but in the end, I think seeking out a voice teacher or someone who can really more specifically listen to your voice and its specific needs would be best.
Okay, thank you. I just want to know that before I break the eardrums of everyone in a 5-mile radius. I don't do that. Thank you very much for that.
You're good. And I relate to that. I often feel the same way in my house. Okay, maybe like 1, 2 more. Oh no, I can't see your name. Oh, I don't know if, all right, okay. Let's do, oh, I love your Hamilton background. Lynette Davis. Hi.
Hi. So my question is, what are some tips for going to an audition or like the day before? Like, what should I do, or what would like prep me for it? Like, I don't know if I'm making sense or not.
No, you are. So like before an audition, like what do you do to best prepare yourself? I could let Anna-Lee take that.
I think it depends, because every audition is so different, you know, whether you're going in for a dance audition or just a singing or a final callback, or it's the first time they're seeing you. But I think, you know, like I said, get rest, know the material as best you can, and pack your audition bag well for when you show up, you know, depending on what it is. You want to make sure that like you have, it's always the last minute things that might throw you off. So make sure that you have a bottle of water already, because there's no guarantee a vending machine's going to be there. Make sure you have some snacks, because heaven forbid you're there for longer and all of a sudden you didn't eat breakfast because you thought you were only going to be there for an hour. Have some snacks. If they're going to make you dance, make sure you have some Band-Aids in your backpack, things like that, you know. And just remember, it just totally depends, because everything is so different. But again, for me, it's always just knowing what you're auditioning for. And that's the biggest thing I say too. As a lot of times I see people go in for projects and they don't know anything about the project they're auditioning for, whether it be film and television, and they send in a video submission and they didn't look up the writers of this television show. So they didn't know that, oh, this is like Parks and Rec humor. This is like totally like, you know, like Curb Your Enthusiasm. But because they didn't look up the writers of the project, they just went in auditioning. They go in with, they don't understand the comedic timing that they're looking for, and you're doing something all serious, you know. Same thing for theater. Like, look up the project you're auditioning for and look up the directors maybe, so you know what they like and what type of art they like to make, because that can make a big difference too.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so very welcome. And I think this is where we're officially going to end it. Again, thank you so much to our amazing singers and to Anna-Lee. Guys, she is an amazing resource, not only on TikTok, but just as an amazing human being who I think might be part of the reason why I'm like glitching on this on this Zoom, because I just get so excited whenever I'm in any sort of contact with Anna-Lee. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining. Next week, I hope to have another guest star. I just hope to keep these going on for as long as we can keep them going on for. Yeah, all information regarding me can literally just be found in my Linktree YouTube website. If you want to schedule private things with me, I'm on Cameo now. I have a P.O. box. I have merch. Very exciting things. So if you wanted any of it, all the information to that is very easily found. This masterclass also, if you want to look back to it, will be posted on YouTube. So yeah, and just thank you all for being here. Okay. Oh, I never want to leave. It's so nice to do this as opposed to lives where I can actually see everyone's faces that I'm talking to. Okay, I'll sing my song. I'm sorry to let you know I really have got to go. Drink water so you're not sick. I love you. Love Alexa-Chalnick. I love you guys so much. Be sure to tune in next week and just continue to stay safe, stay strong, and stay singing. And thank you again, Anna-Lee. Make sure to go schedule lessons with her. Alrighty. Bye, everyone. Mwah. Bye.